Hello everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be creating two cards with our new A7 Pop-Up Spring Builder die set. This set includes this beautiful trellis that I am double layering with 2 sheets of heavyweight cream cardstock. This is basically the base of my card, so I want this to be nice and sturdy. The die also includes a wraparound fence and a wraparound grass. So I will be using all 3 today to create an A7 card, but in a future video I will show you how to just use the fence and the grass to create a smaller card for an A2 size. So if you haven't seen my product showcase video yet, definitely go check that out. I'm going to be using quite a few new products along with the old. Now, on my first sample, I decided to back the holes of the trellis with craft cardstock. In the second one, I will leave them open. But I wanted to tie in the craft that's going to be on my fence and add it to the back of my card and just have a little bit peeking through. The die also includes some layering pieces for the side panels of the trellis, and I cut those from craft cardstock as well, and I'll go ahead and add those now. And here is a photo of the die set that I'm using. I will have everything linked down below. I'm going to see if inserting photos is easier than just having that pile of supplies that I usually show at the beginning of the video. Sometimes it's nice to see everything I used right before I get started, but a lot of people have been asking like, oh, what does this part of the video, what set is that specifically being used for? So I will just insert the die sets as I do the voiceover. So right now I'm only using the A7 Pop-Up Seam Builder. The die includes this fence that I cut from heavyweight craft cardstock. I highly suggest using heavyweight cardstock, or if you don't have it, doubling it up like I did with the trellis. That's just going to make your card much sturdier, and it's just going to feel better coming out of the envelope. It's going to feel nice and heavy. So here I am adding double-sided tape to each of the glue tabs here. And this is going to wrap around and sort of create a box. So I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to flip the trellis over, and I'm just going to tape that glue tab to the back of the trellis, making sure to line up the bottom of the fence with the bottom of the trellis. And then once that's nicely adhered, I will wrap the fence to the other side of the trellis, again lining the bottoms up together and adhering the glue tab behind the trellis. So very simple pop-up, really great if you're new to pop-up card making, and especially if you're a scene builder and you want to try something different than a normal flat card. This one is really fun, and I love how simple it is. I do plan on bringing out more of these in future collections because it's such a simple die, but I love that you can use the pieces separately on flat cards, almost every single piece, and then you can also use them together to create an A7 card or separately to make an A2. So lots of different looks you can get with this pop-up, and it's very easy to assemble. The die also includes a wraparound grass piece, so you can, below the fence, just exactly the same way, wrap your grass all the way around, or you can cut the grass up where the score lines are and line it up in 3 pieces, which I kind of like better because it's easier to fold, but it's completely up to you. My second card, I actually do the wraparound again, and that works out well too. So now I am paper piecing my decorative elements. This is our new spring tree die set, and I opted for a summer green leafed tree, but I think this would be really fun paper pieced with light and dark pink leaves so that it could look like a cherry blossom tree. So I might do that in a future video. Then I like to glue my leaves first, and then on top glue my trunk and the little branches. If you want to hide the branches, then you would paper piece that before the leaf. but I really like the way that looks. The set also includes a swing that you can add. And here I'm putting it inside my pop-up just so I can see how short I want the swing to be. You're going to see I'm going to cut part of it off so that you'll see more of it above the fence line. The die set also includes some flowers, so I cut those out from 2 shades of pink cardstock. I'm also going to use these flowers on my bushes. I'm also pulling in some older die sets. The bush dies are from the garden stand flowers die set, and then the 2 dogs I'm going to use are from the garden animals set. That garden animals die is really great for this new pop-up because not only are there dogs, but there's cats and bunnies. So those would make adorable spring scenes. All right, so there's my tree. I'm going to use those same flowers, like I said, on the bushes. I'm going to create a pink bush with the leftover flowers and then also a yellow bush. Here I'm paper piecing the corgi, which I probably have shown me paper piecing this corgi at least 4 or 5 times on my channel. He is one of my absolute favorite images that I've ever illustrated. It's weird because I'm not even really a dog person. I do think corgis are cute, but I'm way more a cat person. But for some reason, I'm just obsessed with this little die. So I did paper piece his snout, which is a separate die in the set. But I did die cut him once from orange for his body and then once from white. And I just cut his legs and a little bit of his tummy from the white part. I'm doing the same thing with the beagle style dog. I cut him once from dark brown and once from white. And from the white dog, I'm going to surgically remove some parts of him, including his ears, his snout, and his legs. And then I'm going to use a fine liner to go over the engraved lines that are already on the die. The fine liner just helps accentuate those features a little bit more. So there are my 2 doggies, then I have my tree, and now I'm going to paper piece my bushes. Again, using the flowers from the tree die set. What's nice is there's like 10 flowers on the die, so I only had to cut it twice or once from each color. So for this yellow bush, I did a darker and lighter yellow, and then for the other one, I did a dark and light pink flower. I think it would be really pretty to add pearls in the centers of all of these flowers. I didn't feel like doing it, but that would be super pretty. And I know I mentioned it already, but if you haven't seen the showcase video, I would definitely check it out. I'll have it linked. These are my absolute favorite videos to film and prepare for. I actually, with my mom, spend like 7 days on this video coming up with all the different cards. So that way I can inspire you with all the new products that we bring out. And there are several pop-up trellis cards in that video. If you want to see some more ideas, I will have more videos coming out. But if you can't wait and want to see more, definitely check that out. All right, so we're back to the pop-up, and here I have the grass from the same pop-up die set. I am cutting where you see the score lines. Those score lines are there if you want to wrap the grass around the card the same way we wrapped the fence around. But I find that it folds a little bit better if you cut the grass into 3 pieces. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just basically gluing it to the bottom of the fence line. Now, if you wanted to, you could have just the fence on the sides of the card and have the grass by itself on the front, and all you would really have to do is cut the front off. And I will have some video tutorials showing the different ways you can use this set. As a designer of these pop-ups, I always make it a goal of mine to try to extend the use in as many ways as possible, because they are bigger dies, therefore they do cost more. So it's important that you can use it beyond a single look. So here is the same grass, and basically if you don't cut it up, it works on a slimline card. You can keep it as one giant piece, and with those egg carton samples from my showcase video, we use the same grass to embellish those egg cartons, but you can also cut it up for A7 and A2 cards, and in this case I'm cutting it up to layer on top of the bridge that's included in the pop-up die set. So here I added 2 rows of grass, 2 different colors, and I just glued them to the center part of that bridge. I folded in the glue tabs, and basically each tab attaches to a panel on the fence. So it's very well hidden. You can choose, how deep you want the bridge to go and how high up you want it to go. Here I will add another one in so you can see I'm folding in the glue tabs, and I'm adding some double-sided tape to them. First I will add another row of grass, and with the one strip of grass you can get 2 bridges worth. So I'll add the darker grass at the bottom there. I just like that extra dimension. So this one I'm going to glue further back. I think I glue it on the very farthest back fence panel, and I'm going to glue it slightly higher than the bridge that's in front. I think the bridge that's in front, I glued it on the second fence tier or fence panel, and I glued it a little bit farther down, just above the grass that's already glued to the front of the fence line. And you can add up to 4 bridges inside. So if you want loads of dimension, you can definitely do that. So now I'm going to add my tree to the front of my first bridge, just right on top of that grass. Now this is a bit top heavy. I did use heavyweight cardstock, so I am going to add a clear stick to the back of this. If you've been watching my channel, you know about these clear sticks, but you can also just use cardstock or a heavy cardstock. That would be perfect. So here you can see my tree is kind of drooping forward. I'll fix that in a second. I'm going to add my yellow bush to the back, and then I'll add my pink bush to the front. Here's the clear stick I'm talking about. I create these by trimming a 12 by 12 sheet of clear acrylic that I get from clearscraps.com. And I just cut them into strips. I use my Caterpillar, which is a heavy grade paper trimmer. And one sheet of 12 by 12 can last me for like 100 cards. So I really like it, but you can also just use plastic packaging. So now I'm laying out my doggies. I felt like the corgi stood out more in the front, so he'll go in the front, and then I'll put the beagle doggy right next to the swing. And then all I have left is my pink bush and my corgi, and that pretty much finishes off this card. These really don't take long. Compared to like our pop-up books or even the egg carton. If you do a double-sided egg carton, that takes quite a bit of time. But these are almost like you're assembling a flat card scene, but it has that pop-up box dimension. So I love how simple this die set is. All right, so there's a picture of my first card. And now I am on to my second. So this was actually the first card I made with the die set, but I missed some of the filming process here. So I'll try my best to explain the gap, but I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm going to double layer my trellis in the back. This time I cut it from heavyweight white cardstock. And I'm not going to add that side detail. I'm just going to leave it completely white. And for this card, I'm going to pull in our new bunny silhouettes die set. And on the website, there is a picture of the finished paper piece die, but our new packaging, we have kind of done a little bit of rebranding this year. All of the new packaging moving forward for our die sets will include a little picture on the back so that you know what it's supposed to look like when it's fully paper pieced, or for our pop-ups, what it would look like assembled. Some of our older die sets are getting a makeover too, but for the most part, this is going to apply for every upcoming launch. So I also here am using our new trellis vine die, and this just creates a gorgeous wraparound vine that's perfectly sized to layer on top of the trellis. So that's what I am doing here. But this flower is really pretty if you cut it up into small pieces and kind of tuck it in between the grasses or the eggs on the egg carton. It is a very versatile die. It's one of my favorites from the collection. But I did layer it up with 2 layers of heavyweight green cardstock because it is a pretty dainty cut. I do want it to pop off the trellis a little bit. I cut the flowers from 2 shades of pink cardstock, and I'm just layering up all of those flowers. And these ones, I will add a gem to the center of each flower, and that ends up looking really pretty. So I want to mention that our bundle sales end on Sunday night, so tomorrow night. So take advantage of that deal because this card showcases everything that's in the bundle, including the pop-up, the vine that I am paper piecing here, the bunny silhouettes, which I'll show in a second, and then it also includes a cute little bunny that has its own bridge that looks like dirt, like it looks like a carrot patch. So yes, I'll use that in an upcoming video. Here are the pink gems that I decided to use. This is an all pink gem mix. I also off camera cut these flowers from the vine from purple cardstock, and I added purple gems to the center of those. And those I'm going to glue to some tall grass that I cut from our Spring Essentials die set. That is the part of the video that for some reason I lost footage of. So again, I'll try to explain it when I show you the finished card. But here are those bunnies. They include their tails separately. So I cut them from white cardstock. I did double layer them because some of these are going to be hopping on acrylic sticks. So I wanted them to be nice and sturdy. And then I just cut their little tails from a light gray cardstock. In the end, you don't really see their tails, but I thought I might as well just do it. Why not? Here I'm pulling in that fine liner, going over their little eyes. And then we're ready to assemble the base. So I cut my fence from heavyweight white cardstock, and unfortunately I didn't have heavyweight light gray. So this is when I have to layer the gray on top of the heavyweight white. I wish that I cut the gray at the score lines instead of wrapping it as one piece onto the white die cut, just because it folds a little bit weird now, but it's still okay. So here I'm just gluing it right on top of the white, and then I will let that dry a little bit before I fold those score lines. So you don't have to do this if you have heavyweight gray, but you can always work around situations like this. So here I'm just folding in those score lines so that I can create that box shape, and then I'll also fold in the glue tabs and add, I guess this time I just use liquid glue, but I do suggest using double-sided tape as well. That's more of a permanent stronghold than glue is. Lining up the bottom of the trellis with the bottom of the fence, starting on the right side and then, wrapping it around over to the left side. And that's it. Now I'm grabbing my grass, and this time instead of cutting it up where those score lines are, I'll just wrap it around like this. Again, this is an option, it works, but I do prefer cutting it. It folds a little bit better in my opinion. All right, so all that's left are my bunnies and my wildflowers. So you can see over to the right, I have my tall grass cut and my purple flowers. Unfortunately, it did not show me gluing the flowers to the tips of the grass, but that's exactly what I did. Pretty simple. Here I have my bridges. I cut them from white cardstock. Again, this was my first card. You saw on my second card, I cut these out from green because I knew I was layering grass on top. So the green's nice, so if anything peeks through at the bottom, it doesn't really matter because it's green. So it just looks like it's part of the grass. That's where I learned from this card. But I also, on this one, only added one layer of grass, and I thought it was smarter to do the two like I did on my first card. So as you make these, or with any pop-up, you kind of learn some tricks. But same thing, I'm adding this bridge. You can see I cut it in half so that it's a little bit smaller so you didn't see the white at the bottom part of it. But I am lining it up. Again, I think on the second panel on the fence towards the bottom, just so that you can see it a little bit above the grass that's under the fence line. I will add the second half of that bridge. I'll add another grass piece. This bridge I will glue slightly higher up and further back. I believe I'm gluing this on the second to last fence panel. Just lining up those glue tabs behind the panel so that you won't see it peeking through the sides. And then just to make sure it's nicely adhered, you can actually flatten the card and really press those sides. All right, so I am going to add a third bridge, and this is where I realize I can glue 2 lines of grass on one bridge, so I don't have to cut it in half. All right, so I just added glue to the tabs, or this time I'm adding double-sided tape, and I added that to the very last fence panel in the back, pretty much all the way to the top. And I like that because it allowed me to add that hopping bunny in the center, and you can still see a lot of the grass. You can see I also tucked in my purple wildflowers, and here I'm going back in and adding the gems to all of those. Again, I'm sorry that it cut off the assembly part of me adding the bunnies and those wildflowers. I was a little bit disappointed in that, but it was fairly simple. I just, glued the bunnies right on top of the grass. And I did add a acrylic stick behind that hopping bunny in the center so that it kind of floated above the flowers. And then the tall grass, I also just glued right on top of the bridges. And that finishes off my second card. This is how it folds flat for mailing, and it fits inside an A7 envelope. Super cute, and if you are going to Stamp Fest in February, it's going to be in Clearwater, Florida. I'm going to be doing a simple version of this card as my make and take. So here are some close-ups of that card. And then here are the 2 cards we made today. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. As always, I will have all the products I used linked in the video description. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!